Yeah, welcome back to my channel, Dr. Okoya Ebasin. Today we are going to look at the topic, corruption, a killer of potentials. Now, what is corruption? Corruption is defined as a dishonest or illegal behavior. Another definition says inducement into doing what is wrong through improper or unlawful means. Another definition for corruption is undertaking by a person or an organization which is entrusted in a position of authority in order to acquire illicit benefits or abuse of power for one's personal gain. All these ones are definitions of corruption. Now, examples of corruption or corrupt cases, we have contract fraud, bribery, money laundering, embezzlement, exam malpractices, inducement for marks, refusing to pay bank loans, absenteeism from work, delay of office files for personal gains, blackmail, abuse of office, extortion, graft. All these ones are forms of corruption that we found every day in our society. Now, we see corruption every day in our lives, in the schools, in our office space, workplaces, churches, mosques, marketplaces, everywhere you go in this nation. Officials, servants, market women, everybody practices one form of corruption or the other. The problem is that some of us, it has become like a part of us that sometimes people don't even know that they are engaging in corrupt practices, because they are just looking at it that it is the norm. Now, corruption is a killer of potentials. Now, what is potentials? Potentials are inherent capabilities, inbuilt capabilities that enhances your ability to succeed in life. Everybody has some inbuilt qualities in him that ordinarily, if properly harnessed, will enable him to succeed in life. Even nations, every nation has some natural gifts, mineral resources and other things that will enable that nation, when properly harnessed, enable that nation to succeed. Now, that is what is called potentials. Now, how does corruption become a killer of potentials? I want to give you a good example. Now, when I started work as a young graduate, I started as a teacher and I was posted to a secondary school. As at the time I was posted to this secondary school, I arrived there at a time when the secondary school was just coming out of a ban from writing WAEC because of exam malpractices that they practiced some years back. That brought a ban on the school. So for about 2 years, that school did not write WAEC exams. So when students get to SS3, they will be asked to go to other schools to go and write their WAEC. Now, that was the situation I met on ground when I arrived at this secondary school. So the principal called all of us and now narrate what the school has passed through in the previous 2 years. So we all agreed in a meeting that we are not going to practice any form of exam malpractices again. That any student that does not read his books and pass his exams, that is his own cup of tea. So we all resolve and agree that we will do our best to make sure we cover our syllabus, teach the students very well, prepare them for the exams, and anybody that fails, that one we know that it is his own cup of tea. So we stand by these ethics, prepare the students for the WAEC exams, teach them very well, organize extramural classes for them. And now when this decision was taken, it was announced in the assembly for every student to know that if you don't read your books and prepare for your WAEC, you are on your own. That as teachers and school will do everything possible to prepare them very well for the exams. So if there is extramural classes and you refuse to come, it's your own case. It's your own personal problem. And we stood by our word. We did our best. Prepare these students for the exam. Make sure their syllabus, we cover their syllabus. Teach them, organize extramural classes, prepare them for the exams, and allow them to write their WAEC. And since that year, we started maintaining that culture. Some students left the school because they said that in that school they will not allow you to do exam malpractices. While other students came because they understand that in that school there is not going to be any form of malpractices. And then we maintained that standard for several years that I was there. And now, today, we see that graduates from that school, we know that most of them are PhD holders. I know that one of them is in the House of Assembly. One of them is a commissioner in this present administration. Several of them are engineers working in various ministries. Some are in Shell. That was the benefit of what we got from standing our ground to make sure that there was no exam malpractices in that school. And it has been like that. Most of those people that came out of that school at that time are all doing well in all facets of society. Now, after several years as teachers and the routine that usually come with teaching, I was now posted to another school. And I resumed in this new school with all the zeal and enthusiasm to teach as we used to teach in my former school. And I came, started the process of teaching, and along the line I was assigned to a class SS1. So I was teaching them the sciences in SS1. And in order to keep the students busy and prepare them for exams, begin to organize interclass quiz, science quiz for that matter. And we schedule a quiz competition between SS1 and SS2. And since I was the class teacher for SS1, I know the students that are good in sciences. So after some time, we decided to select the students that will represent the SS1 for the interclass quiz. So I went to the class that day as the class teacher because I was the man that was mandated to select the people that would represent the class. So I picked 3 students that I know that these ones are good and they will be able to represent the class SS1. When I called these 3 students, I observed a kind of murmuring and grumbling. So I was like, why is it that these people are grumbling? I know that these students are very good and they will be the people that will represent the class. So they were like, I didn't really understand what was going on. So I was annoyed. I was like, maybe these people are afraid to represent the class or to go for the quiz. So I was annoyed and I left the class and sent for these 3 students in the staff room to come, where other teachers too were seated. And I began to ask them, why is it that you are murmuring and grumbling when I asked you to go and represent the class in the coming quiz? And that if you don't say exactly what is happening, I will flog you people. When they know that I was serious, they now come up to tell me that, sir, it is not because that we are afraid. We are not afraid. That the reality is that let those who are taking first, second, and third in the class go and represent the class. Because every time that the exam comes, they are the people that used to take first, second, and third. And then now it is time to represent the class, that those people should go and represent the class. When they said that, so I now ask, who are those people that are taking first and second and third in the class? When I know that you are sound student, I've been with you for some time, and I know that you are the people that are capable of representing this class. So it was then when I began to investigate, it was then I realized that in that school, this new school, that there are certain group of students that always take first, second, and third. In fact, they come up among the first 10 in every exams, despite the fact that most of them were dullers, most of them were empty brains. But just because of their personal relationship with either the teachers or the principal, these students are always on top of the class. That was what was the cause of the murmuring. So when we dig deeper, we begin to realize that in this new school, corruption, exam malpractice, even in internal exams, there is exam malpractice. That the school is deep into all forms of exam malpractices. And that during WAEC periods, what they do is that they organize and write the exams for the students on the blackboard, making them to pass and have several A's and B's that they cannot defend. That has been the tradition in that school. Now, even though we stand to fight it, because the school authority, everybody was involved, it was difficult to fight it. But the whole truth about the matter is that now, after several years of teaching in that school, a lot of students graduated from that school, come out with good grades in WAEC, A's, 5A's, 6A's, 7A's in WAEC. And now these students, because of the fact that they got these results out of malpractice, couldn't further their education. The few that furthered their education were unable to defend their certificate. Some of them gained admission to read medicine, and at the end of the day end up reading anatomy and microbiology and all sorts of courses far away from their certificate. Because when you look at their results, you would think that these are very brilliant students. The few ones that managed to go to the university came out with a third class and passed in their university results. Now we see a set of people that are already intimidated because of the malpractices they've done. They could not stand to defend their certificates. Most of them don't even aspire to go to the university because they know that the certificates they are holding, they cannot defend it. The few ones that went there come out with third class. These are people that supposed to have that have potentials that would have taken them higher in life, just like as the ones we have in the first school I'm talking about. But because of the malpractices, the corruption in that school, most of these people came out as mediocres. Some of them do not have the courage to even attempt university. The few ones that went there come out with third class. An ordinary persons in cities, most of them are roaming the streets looking for jobs. There are no jobs for such people. So you can now see that in this second school, instead of encouraging the children to maximize on their God-given potentials, corruption has killed their potentials. And because of that, they cannot aspire higher in life. And most of them are not fulfilling purpose because of the corruption that was embedded in their school. So now when you look at the impact of corruption in these two schools, then you will know that corruption is actually a killer of potentials. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to this channel, share these videos, and make your comment. Thank you.